Former Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski and conservative columnist Ann Coulter, author of Resistance is Futile, one of my favorites. All right, Ann, I want to play some sound for you. By the way, this is probably the most fair and balanced panel I've ever had.
Agreed.
And because of that, I'm going to play a Democrat. I'm just kidding. Ann would knock my head off. No, I want to play some sound of the president praising Mitch McConnell, and let's listen.
He goes down as the greatest leader, in my opinion, in history. What we've done is incredible together. But he's better when I'm president than he ever was when anyone else was president.
Trump made Mitch great again, or as he's known favorably, Cocaine Mitch. What do you think, Ann? How are you going to turn that into immigration?
Okay, give me 30 seconds. Well, right after Kavanaugh gets through, and he is in Kentucky, okay, you got to praise Mitch McConnell. But by and large, I think the mistake of the Trump administration so far is Trump giving into the Mitch McConnell agenda rather than the other way around. McCain couldn't win the way the country's been changed by immigration. McCain couldn't win, Romney couldn't win. Trump won. So why don't Republicans in Congress think, oh, this guy knows how to do it. Let's be like him. Let's pass funding for the wall and get the Democrats to vote against it. No, they go straight back to the old Republican playbook, tax cuts, military spending, continue the various wars we have around the universe. I mean, who are the biggest stars right now in the Democrat or Republican Party? Donald Trump, Lindsey Graham, and that wonderful Bill Cassidy.
And Corey Lewandowski.
If you could play that clip, that would be great,
Party.
too. What did they do? They stood up to liberals.
Yes.
You know the Bill Cassidy clip I'm talking about.
He goes up to some woman who I think had brought her children into the halls of Congress, and, oh, you've ruined my children's future, and he looks at the kids and said, your mother's making you into a pawn. Don't ever be a victim like that.
And if you're ever accused falsely as an adult, don't worry. They won't get away with it.
Exactly. And Corey, Mitch McConnell does say he's going to get a lot of wall funding in the lame duck Congress if there is one. What do you think?
Well, look, I think where you have to praise Mitch McConnell is him actually getting the federal judges through the system. This president's put 84 judges into the system, which has long-term ramifications for the electorate and for the people in the country for the foreseeable future. That is a testament to what Mitch McConnell has done. But the president has done it against the will of the Senate. Look, he just nominated some more people for the Ninth Circuit that were not with the advice and consent of the two senators from California, because he said it's time to change the judiciary because they have legislative from the bench. We've seen this too many times. To Ann's point, the immigration issue had to go all the way to the Supreme Court for a 9-0 decision to say the President of the United States has the authority to prevent people from coming into this country that he believes are a detriment to our country. The same power that every president has used since World War II, but we've seen judges all too often legislating from the bench. So, to Mitch's credit, because of what the president has done, they've fundamentally changed the court system, and that's going to have long-term ramifications in the positive sense.
Well, if Mitch McConnell could make the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals Republican, give the guy the Congressional Medal of Honor. I want to play some really touching sound of the president today in the Oval Office. He just secured the release of a prisoner abroad from Turkey. Let's watch this very special moment. In the Oval Office when he was there praying with the pastor who was just released from Turkey. Can we play that? All right. So we all saw that today.
Go back to the build the wall chant.
I know Ann wants to talk about immigration, but it was a very special moment when he secured the release of this prisoner. And this president has done that consistently, whether it's in North Korea, whether it's in Afghanistan, or all around the world. And the American people, when they see this, there it is right there, when they see this, it shows that this president really cares about each individual American.
Yes, and not only that, I mean, all of the pastors, and a lot of black pastors, praying with Trump during the campaign, I thought it was absolutely sincere and genuine when he said in response to the Access Hollywood tape that running for president has changed him. And I just like to see Trump, who you don't really think of as...
Look at the pious, humble Trump right there bowing down. I mean, that's just...
I don't think
you've never really seen that before.
Holy roller before he ran for president, but you can't have that many Christians praying over you and praying with you without having that affect you.
Right. Corey, what do you think?
Look, I think the mainstream media wants to overlook all the success that this president has of bringing Americans home who have been captive overseas. No one's talking about the woman who was a captive against her own will in Egypt that he brought home. Remember, if you remember, he went to Joint Base Andrews one night at midnight to see people come back off that plane who are overseas. This president has done this time and time and time again without bucket loads of money, without palletfuls of cash going overseas. He's not negotiating with these nations. He's saying, you send our people home or we're going to have a problem. And he is drawing a line in the sand that those other nations have continuously walked across in previous administrations. And this time they understand if you cross this person, he is not a man to be trifled with, and there will be a recourse. And so we saw that today, and I think that family and the nation is very happy that he's back on U.S. soil.
And speaking of drawing,
if I could be the Democrat here, all that, though that is true, and Trump is strong, I'm not really that enthusiastic. That's not bringing people out to vote. What are these people doing in ridiculous countries to begin with? What we wanted was a wall.
Well, yes, and
you don't have to keep saving people who did. I feel like it's, skiers who go off into a no skiing area. Avalanche warning, don't go. And we have to spend all this money to get them back. Don't go to these countries.
Well, I mean, Turkey can be a very nice place to be sometimes for some
I'm
people.
glad we got them. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's a much more important thing to protect the Americans who live here.
Well, speaking of that, the president really delineated that vis-a-vis the midterm elections. Here was his contrast. Let's listen.
The fact is, Democrats have become the party of crime. They have. Republicans are the party of safety, and we are the party of jobs, jobs, jobs.
So the president has, I believe, a gift politically for really just in black and white terms. They're socialists, we're capitalists. We like law and order, they love crime. No other, I believe, president has ever put anything in those stark terms before, and that's what's driving these liberals mad.
He's totally right on the immigration issue, though if he goes along with Jared Kushner's idea on prison reform, he'll be the crime president. So, warning, Mr. President. And
lock him up, right?
One other thing about the immigration issue, you're right about the courts. The courts will not matter. The Kavanaugh nomination will not matter. If immigration changes this country enough that we can never get another Republican president, they're just going to pack the courts, and all of these victories will be footprints in the sand.